Hello everyone in our extended community and our Wednesday class conference. This is the last conference for the semester. So this is our pulling it all together conference. And I want to start by saying that next semester we are studying The Hero's Journey, Joseph Campbell's work. And there is a movie that I would love for all of you to watch this week, if possible, and be prepared for next week, which is called Finding Joe. And you can stream it off Amazon.com. I'll bring in a DVD copy that you guys can borrow as well. I meant to do that today. I thought it was on Netflix, but it's not. But you can instant stream it off Gaiam, so Amazon.com. And we are. Hi, everybody. Makes everyone in our extended community feel part of things. Hello from everyone. So winding up this semester, I was saying it's kind of like raking. I want to use the prongs on my rake to pull in some different leaves from the semester, and really beginning with the year of the dog and talking about just being more loving and loyal and forgiving, playful. And we moved back into studying the vagus nerve again and strengthening our vagal tone, making us more loving and compassionate and forgiving people by having a strong vagal tone, and looked very specifically at the physiology of that and how we could do it. Moved then into oxytocin, studying the vagus nerve being the love nerve and oxytocin then being the hormone. Exactly. And a little bit about when that gets released and how, and this coming back to getting more in tune with our own nature and strengthening our own connection to nature in a way that brings things back into balance for us. You know, so our body naturally, our hormones are part of our natural medicine cabinet. And when we're out of whack, when we're living lives that are too stressed, and when we're not touching the earth and getting negative ions, and when we're not sleeping at night, and all these things, our medicine cabinet gets kind of thrown off. And so a lot of what we do with our yoga practice is training us to get back to our own nature, our physiology, and the way we were designed. So on our yoga mats, the two words I want you to remember from this semester, does anyone know the two words? Love and training. Two words, I'll pull it together with my rake at the end. But you know, on our yoga mats, you guys come here and we're training your bodies to be more flexible. Very holistic approach to it as well, like even the backs of your toes and in the intercostal area where we're stretching to become more holistically more flexible and bendy and soft. And at the same time, Ashtanga is unique as a yoga practice because it's also based on strength. So you're working on different than you would work with kettlebells or machines. We work on holding our own body weight in different positions. And so just the physiology of working on flexibility and softness and strength in the core and strengthen our muscles. But yoga as well is trying to train your breath. So we all come here and we, for the next hour and a half, train our breathing system so that when we're out doing life, our breathing system is more efficient and more better and stronger in our lung capacity. As well, we are working on our mind, our ability to meditate or be present or be focused, and we do that through breath and movement combined and bringing our attention inward. And then all of that moves into this more vague but also very specific goal for us in yoga, which is to move prana into the vayus and into the chakras, and for us to actually use this as part of our emotional health practice and our spiritual health practice. And even the physiology of thinking, like every time I talk about we do up dog, it's an opportunity for you to open up your fourth chakra, open up your heart region, and breathe deep into that region. And like strengthening the vagus nerve, that's one of the ways that we train ourselves to be more loving, compassionate, open, and vulnerable people. So all of that we're doing here on our yoga mats is considered training. And now I say to you guys, you know, the traditional Ashtanga practice was meant to be done 6 days a week minus moon days. So really we wind up being 6 and 5, 6 and 5. And I say that to all of you, knowing that you get here as much as you can, so I'm not that real, you know, we have busy lives, and so we would come here as much as we can. But as most of you know, we get better at training all those systems the more that you can be present and practice, practice, practice. Guruji was famous for saying, practice and all is coming, 99% practice, 1% theory. And then he would say, practice, practice, practice. And it's simple, but there's a truth to it. So if I want to get stronger, I have to do lots of chaturangas and different arm balances and things. And if I want to get more flexible, I come to my mat more and I move into these things. So we know that just you guys being here for an hour and a half, you've already, can say to all of you, congratulations. You know, because you're going to be training for the next hour and a half. And no matter how busy your schedules are, you guys all made it here today. So that's the first part. You're here. But then the other part I've been talking about this semester is, now that you're here, let's really train. You know, and some of you, I can say, you guys really train hard in the strength department, and others of you really train hard in the flexibility, and some of you train really hard in the breathing practice. And then we can also all admit there are parts that we're a little bit weaker at, or we're like less focused on our training. So it's my job kind of as a teacher to be like, are you guys breathing? It's one thing for you to be able to do a hard pose like Marichyasana D, but in Ashtanga, the point is not only are you doing this difficult pose, but you're also breathing through it. You know, so we bring our attention day after day, month after month, year after year, of the different aspects of training in the Ashtanga method system. So I can say you're all here, but now how much attention will you give to different aspects of your training, right? So this semester, the focus I wanted you to bring to your yoga mat had to do with your vagus nerve and oxytocin, and it had to do with the spiritual part or the emotional part of our practice, where we're looking at, of all the things that you can become good at, you know, playing classical guitar, doing handstands in the middle of the room, or headstands, or whatever that is. One of the most important things that I think as human beings that we really want to be able to do is to be loving human beings, is to be compassionate human beings, to be connected to each other. And so I've thrown out the challenge for all of you is to the way we train our chaturangas, the way we train our minds to focus, to actually consider, if we want to be more loving human beings, we have to do, there has to be some mechanism for us to train that. So you know, I would say for all of us, we wake up every morning, and who wakes up and is like, yeah, I don't want to be loving today. So I don't want to have a miserable, kind of unhappy day. No one says that. We all wake up and we're like, I want to be happy today. I want to be loving today. But then we start driving our cars on the California freeways, and we start getting phone calls about stressful things and emails about, you know, you could be coming to your yoga class and get a text that you read that's like sends you in a spin about something. So we know we want that, but we find these little techniques, little ways that we can like bring ourselves back to the place that we want to be, you know, through our yoga practice, through our breathing, through our mind training. But I gave you guys the homework last week of what was last week's homework? Yeah, just a simple, almost like a cognitive behavioral technique, or a very meditative technique that I used, and we all used with gratitude a couple years ago when we were practicing being better at being grateful people. We used meditation practice, where you guys all thought of in the morning the things that you were grateful for, and throughout the day it was like the Tetris effect. You started to see, oh, I'm grateful that you're all here. I'm grateful we get to do this practice together. I'm grateful we get to look at the ocean. I'm grateful we saw dolphins yesterday. I'm grateful I get to have coffee with you. So now I'm asking you to take that same concept, that same training, and use it with love. And use that to say, what do you love? Every day you're going to say it in the morning, what I love, who I love, what I love, who I love. some mornings you'll be like, you know, the usual suspects, the person I'm married to, my kids, you know, my mom, my dad, my dogs, you know. But then other days will be like, you'll get super creative and be like, oh man, I'm just loving my high school teacher that encouraged me to write and to love literature. And then the next day I'm grateful for a coach back in junior high that got me focused on my health at a young age. And you just start to all of a sudden be thinking of people past and present that you really do love, that have really made a difference in your life. And just by consciously saying that and thinking that, you raise your own vibration, you raise the bar, and you create a stronger neural pathway for your ability to love people, you know, and to love yourself and to love others. And so of course we had the other, that was one page was who I love. What was the other page had on it? What you love. I love talking about what I love. I do. And then you know what, when things get really crappy and I have to go through something which is challenging for me and something I really don't love, sometimes that's when the roots of what I do love keep me strong, you know, and I can really, like, as it's blowing around, I can really be strong in that and reach deep into that place of feeling like there are good things in my life. There are things that are really powerful that will help me stand through this other piece. So that was your homework for last week, and I asked you guys if you just did it for a week, what you would notice. It's a mind shifter. It's a game changer. It's an energy changer. And if you do it for a week, you probably want to do it for 2 weeks. Ultimately, I was trying to get you guys to do this for 30 days. Is my goal for all of you. So if you hadn't started it, try it. It's the simplest thing I can ask you to do with the greatest return, you know, for this. So that was your homework. And kind of bringing that together to finish our semester is to say, you know, I myself, you know, yoga teacher for years in psychology, and of course I value my spiritual practice. But whenever we do this, I realize for myself that I always kind of like want to take things to the next level as well. And as we were doing these studies, I was noticing that when I put something in my mind that I want to see something, I tend to manifest that, or somehow it comes into being. So my example was the hawk. So I've been having this real connection with hawks lately, and just been seeing them like on our property, which I'd never done before, and coming really close to the house. And sometimes when I'm driving, they'll like swoop down, and it just dawned on me, I'm like, well, maybe they were there before, it's possible. Or maybe the energy has drawn them in, that's possible. But no matter what, I will say this to you, once I started like saying like, I want to see hawks, like I just started seeing hawks everywhere. And I have not lost my excitement over it either. So I'm like, now I hear them. I hear their call, and I'll be like, I'm coming. And I'll run out on the deck, and like, you know, it just like, raises like, there you are, you know. But it's such a powerful, really, for all of us to realize what we are looking for often is what we see. And something as simple as love, when you are looking for love in your life, you will see it. You know, it is there. We are surrounded by it. So here's your quotes for this week. They're both by Rumi. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. And the second quote, this one is your seeing quote. Everything that is made beautiful and fair and lovely is made for the eye of one who sees. I have been on the lookout for hawks. Now I see hawks everywhere. I have committed to seeing and being love. Love is all around me. What do you see? Is your question to end the semester. Namaste.